The existence of an external world with fixed property is really an unwarranted interference. There is no evidence that anything exists beyond the impressions and the ideas that belong to nothing and represent nothing. Hence, there can be no scientific laws concerning a permanent, objective physical world. Such laws signify merely convenient summaries of the impressions. Moreover, we have no way of knowing that the sequence we have observed will recur. We have no way of knowing that the sequence we have observed will recur. In fact, we ourselves are but isolated collections of the perceptions, that is, impressions and ideas. We exist only as such. Any attempt on our part to perceive ourselves reaches only a perception. All the other people and the supposed external world are just perceptions to any one person, and there is no assurance that they exist. Wow. Only a obstacle stood in the way of Hume's slow-going skepticism, namely the existence of the generally acknowledged truth of the pure mathematics itself. He could not demolish these, so he proceeded to deflate their value. The theorem of the pure mathematics, he asserted, were no more than the redundant statements, needless repetitions of the same fact in different ways. That 2 times 2 equals 4 is no new fact. Actually, 2 times 2 is but another way of saying or writing 4. Yes, that's right. Hence, this and other statements in arithmetic are mere tautologies. As for the theorems of geometry, they are but repetitions in a more elaborate form of the axioms, which is in turn have as much meaning as 2 times 2 equal 4. You are right. Specifically, Hume, in his treatise. Hume, in his treatise of human nature, was skeptical about the power of reason as a tool for rational explanation. No object ever discloses by the qualities which appear to the senses, either the causes which produced it or the effect which will arise from it. Nor can our reason, unassisted by the experience, ever draw any inference concerning real existence and matter of fact. Right. Experience may suggest a cause and effect, but this belief is never rational. A belief is rational only if its denial is logically inconsistent. But no belief arrived at through experience meets this demand. There is no real science about the permanent and object world. Science is purely empirical. Oh, science is purely empirical by Hume, right? By Hume. Hume's solutions then of the general problem of how we obtain truth is that we cannot obtain them, not the theorem of the mathematics, nor the existence of God, nor the existence of an external world, causation, nature, nor miracles constituted truth. Thus, Hume destroyed by reasoning what reason had established, while at the same time he emphasizes the limitation of reason. However, Such a conclusion, such a denial of humanity, highest faculty, was revolting to most 18th century thinkers. Mathematics and other mathematicians of human reasons had accomplished too much to be so easily cast aside. Immanuel Kant, 1724 to 1804, actually expressed his revulsion for Hume's unwarranted extensions of Locke's theory of knowledge. Reason must be re-enthroned. It appeared indubitable to Kant that humanity possesses ideas and truths beyond the mere amalgamations of the sense experience. Yet, the outcome of Kant's cogitation, when carefully explained, was not much more comforting. In his prolegomena to any future metaphysics, 1983, Kant wrote, "We can say with confidence that a certain pure or a priori synthetical cognitions, pure mathematics and pure physics, are actual and given for both continual propositions which are truthfully recognized as absolute certain, and yet as independent of existence." In his Critique of Pure Reason, 1781, Kant offered more reassuring words. He affirmed that all axioms and theorems of the mathematics were truths. But why? Kant asked himself. Why was he willing to accept such a truth? Surely experience itself did not vouchsafe it. The question could be answered if one could answer the larger question of how the very science of mathematics is possible. In effect, Kant undertook an entirely new approach to the problem of how humanity obtains truth. His first step was to distinguish between the two kinds of statement or judgments that give us knowledge. The first kind, which he called analytical, does not really contribute to the knowledge. It is exemplified by the statement, "All bodies are extended." This is merely an explicit statement of the property that bodies have by the very fact that they are bodies and saying nothing new. Although the statement may perhaps serve for emphasis, the second kind of the knowledge, somehow obtained by the mind independently of the experience, he called a priori knowledge. A priori knowledge. According to the Kant, truth cannot come from the experience alone, for experiences is a melange of sensations, devoid of concept and organization. Mere observations, therefore, will not furnish truth. Right. Truth, if they exist, must be a priori judgment, and moreover, to be genuine knowledge, they must synthetic judgments. They must offer a new knowledge. Patent evidence was at the hand in the body of the mathematical knowledge. Almost all of the axioms and theorems of the mathematics were, to Kant, a priori synthetic judgments. The statement that the straight line is the shortest distance between the 2 points is certainly synthetic, because it combines two ideas, straightness and shortest distance, neither of which is implied by the other. Wow. Also, it is a priori in that the experience with a straight line or even measurements could not endure the invariables and universal truths Kant believed this statement to be. Hence, to Kant, there was no question that human beings do have a priori synthetic judgments. That is genuine truth. Kant proved still deeper why he asked was he willing to accept as a truth the statement that the straight line is the shortest distance between the 2 points? How is it possible for the mind to know such a truth? This question could be answered if we could answer the question of how mathematics is possible, right? The answer Kant gave is that our mind possesses, independently of the experience, the form of space and time. Kant calls these forms intuitions. They are pure a priori means of knowledge, not based on the experience or thought. Space and time are therefore intuitions through which the mind necessarily views the physical world in order to organize and understand the sensations. Since the very intuition of the space has its origin in the mind, certain axioms about the space are at once acceptable to the mind. Geometry then goes on to explore the logical implications of these axioms. The laws of space and time, laws of the mind, precede and make possible understanding of real phenomena. Kant said, Our intellect does not draw its laws from the nature, but it imposes its laws on nature. We perceive, organize, and understand the experience in accordance with these mental forms that are in the mind. Experience fits into them as though into a mold. The mind imposes these molds on the received sense impressions and causes these sensations to fall into the built-in patterns. Because the intuition of the space has its origin in the mind automatically accepts the certain property of this space. Principles such as that the straight line is the shortest path between the 2 points, and the 3 points determine a plane, as well as the parallel axiom of Euclid, which Kant called a priori synthetic truth, are part of our mental equipment. Wow. The science of the geometry merely explores the logical consequences of these principles. The very fact that the mind views experience in terms of the spatial structure of the mind means that the experience will conform to the basic principle and the theorems. Because Kant manufactured space from the cell of the human brain, he could see no reason not to make it Euclidean. His inability to conceive of another geometry convinced him that there could be no other. Thereby, he guaranteed the truth of Euclidean geometry and at the same time the existence of the a priori synthetic propositions. Thus, the law of Euclidean geometry were not inherent in the universe, nor was the universe so designed by God. They were humanity's mechanism for organizing and rationalizing sensations. As for God, Kant said that the nature of God fell outside of the rational knowledge, but we should believe in Him. Kant's boldness in the philosophy was surpassed by his rashness in the geometry. For despite never having been more than 10 miles from his home city of Königsberg in the East Prussia, he could still determine the geometry of the world. Right. What about the mathematical laws of science? because all experience is grasping in terms of the mental framework of the space and time. Mathematics must be applicable to all experiences. In his Metaphysical Elements of the Natural Science, 1786, Kant accepted Newton's laws and their consequences as self-evident. He claimed to have demonstrated that Newton's first law of motion can be derived from the pure reason, and that this law is only assumption under which nature is conceivable to human reason.